This next question is, what do you think about bufo and ayahuasca? Okay. Now, first of all, these are very powerful elements. So, one should always be cautious of how they speak about things that are on this level of magnitude. Bufo and ayahuasca have changed lives, right? But the question here is it bufo doing it and ayahuasca doing it, or is it the person doing it? Okay, meaning that when any element changes your life, is it the element that's changing your life, or is it you? Now, to answer this question, I can only hearken to some people that I know that have actually gone on these journeys, and they're exactly the same. True, 3 days a week, they were totally different. They had seen the light. Now they know that it really exists. They have tasted, although through the back door, but they've still tasted that there is for sure a beyond. Okay? However, just like a dream, and that's why it's always important to, work on the front door, work on the meditation, work on the breathing, because it removes the filters. What are the filters? The filters are, or the lenses, or the films, okay? Filters, lenses, films. That's all camera work right there. Filters, lenses, and films. It removes all of that. Because when you take a substance, there is already happening in your consciousness a marker that says you took the substance. So this is why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. And so what this also serves as a form of protection, just like filters protect. They protect the sensor, right? And this is because when some big giant tree rolls up on you, face and all and full on moving, or, God forbid you took a look at the sun when your third eye is open. If that runs up on you and you don't have a reference point that you took a substance, it will strip you. This is why generally people who are given substances and don't know about it and go into trips never come back from those trips. They call it too many 16ths. They didn't know it was a Mickey. They didn't know it was slipped on them. And then all of a sudden they start seeing things different. They trip and then they lose it. And they never come back because they don't have a reference point that, I took something because it was slipped on them. But with that reference point, no matter how crazy the journey gets, you have a reference point. This is time travel, astral travel, whatever you want to call it. So you already set a marker for your consciousness. Look, when you get control again, go back there, right? So this is why the person's able to return from the journey. So they go on this experience, and then even when they see things, they may be terrified, but not to the point sometimes that they can just go overboard. Now, there's no generalization here. Each person has a different scenario because, as you see, each person is emitting a different planetary system or number predominantly. So that's going to vary from time to time. This is not a one-size-fits-all, but this is a very sound generalization that generally, once they return, now they're changed. And it's because what they've done is they've amplified the chakras for that moment. They've given an energetic potential to the wheels. So you got some fuel, basically. And these fuels are the bioethnogens. It's because these plants, they have their own fuel supply. They have their own wireless power. Okay, that's the way you could look at it in modern times. All right, so they have their own wireless, energetic, and communicating system. And when you come along and you ingest some of that, now you partially become tied into that until your system passes it, right? But this is also leads to the phenomena, day 1, day 2, day 3, oh, you're the saint. Now you know everything. Now you swear you're never going to turn back to, and then you have a whole list of things for yourself. But just like a dream, as the time continues and you stop either administering the medicine or figuring out ways to actually be able to create your own internal medicines and work with your own vehicles, the person starts slipping. Sometimes even they get worse than they were when they started. It happens because of addictions. Like I've seen people who go on so many ayahuasca journeys that something is kind of happening with them. It's like, because you're also open during these times, and just like any plant or any other living organism, you can get contaminated. Contamination is just by alien forces. This just means something that's foreign to the body, something from another chakra that you've never even been in before. And then that gets into your field, and then it starts to kind of like throw things off balance a bit. And a lot of this stuff is happening unintelligibly, meaning the person never even really knows that this is happening. Now, 3 months later, this is a person that you can barely recognize, talking crazy stuff and insisting things that are not true, and elevating themselves onto a level of power in which they think that they have when they really don't. Many people use these elements to reign or master over others. They administer this element to other people, and especially if the person is their first time, they somehow associate the element with the person. And they, oh, my shaman. When there's lots of dark shamans, also imbalanced or distorted shamans running around, utilizing the medicines in order to entrap others into their etheric fields, right? Because remember, we are spirits, or we're bodies inside of our spirit. I'll say that again. We are bodies inside of our spirit. Our spirit is bigger. So when you start doing spiritual things, or you start feeding the spiritual body more, it grows larger. So there are many people that have taken these kind of medicines and substances, and their spiritual body is very large, and it envelops another person's spiritual body. And if they are not honorable and integral and understand what their purpose is, they can abuse that. There's always a test. They may not have even started off with the intentions to do that. But having 3 or 4 fawning princesses around you telling you that you are the gift of the God for them, and that they saw you as the great snake or whatever, this could destroy everything that you built up thus far. And that's why there's perils on the path. And we've talked about that. But it's just, again, an awareness that these substances, they don't really change anything. It's the being that changes. They invite you. There's a lot that's backwards also about the word or world. This world is backwards in many contexts, because when I had my first DMT journey, the beings that I saw as I was ascending this ladder of lights, a group of the beings that I had saw as I was going, I had seen 3 or 4 nights ago in the dream. And I even made the statement, "You're the beings that I seen in the dream." And that was because then I was snatched up into another envelope or vault or space or layer to go in. And so I was just traveling fast, but I recognized I saw these beings about 3 days ago. And so it only confirmed once again that everything here is kind of backwards. So when you do take any of these substances, and I won't say in every case, generally the substance has called you to it for the experience, because it exists in a space that is like a different cog of time and is a bit more in the future than the space that we exist in now. And this is very simple. It's because there's an ayahuasca plant in what we would call 2060. Okay? There's a lot of things in 2060. They're there right now. So what I'm getting at here is that you have forces that are so powerful, they're going to be here at year 3000. And because their linking system, their Wi-Fi, if you may, is crossing over the space that we call time, that's why when you plug into them, you're able to see at least a chunk or a layer of what's going to happen in certain experiences, and what's going to happen in certain spaces, what's going to happen in certain times. But you can also do this in your dream.